You get 1 minute. That's it. One phone call, one message, 1 minute of your own voice. Except it's going backwards, 10 years into the past, straight into the ear of the person you used to be. No context, no explanation, just 60 seconds to say whatever you want to yourself. A decade younger, standing exactly where you were standing back then, completely unaware of everything that's about to happen to them. Here's the real question. Would you actually help that version of you? Or would you accidentally ruin everything by trying? Let's start with the obvious instinct, the warning. Don't take that job. Don't trust that person. Don't waste 4 years on that relationship. Sounds helpful, right? Except here's the catch nobody thinks about. The person you are right now, the one sending this message, only exists because of every single mistake you're trying to erase. Change one decision, and you're not saving yourself. You're deleting yourself. That's the paradox hiding under every "if I could go back" fantasy. You don't actually want your past self to avoid the pain. You want the pain without the consequences. And the universe, annoyingly, doesn't offer that package. Okay, let's say you're not trying to change anything huge. Let's say you just want to say something simple, something kind. It gets better. You're stronger than you think. Harmless, right? Except think about who's actually receiving that message. 10 years younger you has no idea who's calling. For all they know, this is a prank, a glitch, or someone messing with their head during an already stressful week. You'd probably just confuse them, maybe scare them a little. And this is genuinely a perfect moment to hit subscribe, because next week, we're breaking down an entirely different, impossible scenario, and trust me, it gets weirder from here. Now here's where it gets interesting. Psychologists who study memory say we don't actually remember our past selves accurately. We remember a slightly edited, more sympathetic version. So when you imagine talking to yourself 10 years ago, you're not really talking to who you were. You're talking to a nostalgic highlight reel your brain built for you. The real 10 years ago you was messier, more anxious, more clueless than memory gives them credit for. So what would actually happen in that 1 minute? Say you try honesty, full honesty. In 2 years, you're going to lose your job. In 5 years, that relationship ends badly. Here's the twist. Even if past you believed this stranger voice calling from nowhere, knowing the outcome doesn't stop the process. It just adds 10 years of dread to something that was going to happen anyway. Congratulations, you just gave your younger self anxiety with a delivery date. Let's lighten this up for a second because it's not all doom. Imagine using your 1 minute for something ridiculous instead. Buy that stock. Don't get that haircut, seriously, just don't. The Wi-Fi password at your first apartment is literally password 123. Save yourself the embarrassment. Small, harmless, genuinely useful. And weirdly, those tiny practical tips might be the safest use of your 1 minute, because they don't touch the emotional architecture that built who you are today. But here's the deeper layer under all of this. If you really think about what you'd say, it usually isn't advice at all. It's reassurance. It's, "I need you to know you turn out okay," which tells you something uncomfortable. The person you'd most want to comfort with this message might actually be you, right now, today. Not the version 10 years ago, the version currently watching this video. By the way, if this is making you think a little too hard, that's kind of the point. Drop a like if your brain just quietly short-circuited a bit. It genuinely helps the algorithm understand people actually watch this instead of just scrolling past. Let's go even deeper. What if the version of you 10 years ago wouldn't even recognize your voice as your own? A decade changes how you speak, how you think, what you value. There's a real chance past you hears this message and thinks, "That doesn't even sound like the person I'm going to become." Which raises an uncomfortable question. If future you sounds like a stranger to past you, does that mean growth and becoming unrecognizable are basically the same thing? Here's one more twist before we wrap this up. What if the message doesn't go where you think it does? What if, instead of reaching past you, it reaches someone else who happened to be standing exactly where you were standing, at exactly that moment, 10 years ago? A stranger gets 60 seconds of a voice from the future that isn't meant for them, saying things that make no sense to their life. For them, it's just static. a whisper they can't quite place. Maybe that's scarier than talking to yourself. The idea that our messages to the past might just get lost completely, landing on no one, meaning nothing. So maybe the real what if here isn't about time travel at all? Maybe it's about whether you'd actually recognize value in your own voice, past, present, or future, or whether you'd just try to fix things instead of simply being present with who you were. If you made it this far, comment the one sentence you'd actually say to yourself 10 years ago. Just one sentence. Keep it real. I'll read some of the best ones. And if this video messed with your head a little, share it with someone who needed to hear it today, not 10 years ago. New reality bending what if every week. Make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss the next one. See you in the next reality.